Okay, good morning, everyone, and everyone who's watching the replay in the future. I know I watch these things on replay from time to time. Today, well, first off, my name is Alex Mayer. I'm out of Rochester, Minnesota. I've been with EXP for about 20 months now. I've Icon my first year, on track to do it my second year as well. And I've been a licensed real estate agent since 2016. I did have a call last Thursday as well. If you want to get a little bit more information on me, my marketing strategy, and how that works. This is part 2 of a 4-week training I'm doing. Last week I covered my marketing strategy. This week I'm going to be covering my morning routine, really what I call my offense and defensive strategy to lining up my day. Right. I've been since 2016. I had a really great broker, my very first broker, that really taught us that if you got the majority of your work done before 11 o'clock, the rest of the day, you could really just go ahead and screw around the rest of the day if you want. If you do it efficiently and you do it properly. When I first got into business, we did a lot of phone prospecting. I really changed up my business since then. I operate on an attraction-based marketing plan. I learned a great deal of that from Kristen Mayshore within our organization. She taught me digital marketing, how to make it so people are reaching out to me, which is, I would say, probably about 80 to 90% of my business nowadays. However, I do still have a few lead generation platforms that come in from time to time. But what my original broker taught us was to be in the office at 8:30 in the morning. And then from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock, you're going to be on the phones. Now, I did change up that strategy around 2018, but I still kept that mindset where I'm going to be getting the majority of my work done in the morning. So the rest of the day, if I don't have any appointments, any showings, no inspections, no listing appointments, then I'm going to go ahead and just take that day to myself and do what it is that I want. I think one thing that's really interesting about the way that I've designed my business is it is built around a lifestyle by design. I know exactly what it is that I want out of my days. A good portion of my marketing strategy, if you watch what I talked about last week, is actually designed around doing the things that I enjoy to do, and actually makes it so that the people that I end up working with are typically, very similar to me in many ways, right? And makes it a much smoother transaction overall. But I tell people you have 3 main jobs as a real estate agent. Really, the 3 of them: generate business, maintain business, and close business. And really, if you only do one thing any day, it should be to generate business. That means what you are doing to move your business forward in the means of getting new clients, marketing, branding, bringing in new client generation. Maintaining business, that's going to be the things like going out and getting the first sale sign up, negotiating with photographers and videographers on getting that sort of thing in. Inspections, showings are, even I would say negotiations is a good part of maintaining business. I would say closing business is going to be getting a listing contract signed, getting a buyer broker agreement signed, or actually going to the closing table, right? I'm going to talk about kind of all those things in the main point, but really my goal is to drive home that if you are really efficient with your time, and your time, the work that you have to do on a daily basis will condense itself to the amount of time that you give it, right? I don't know if many of you have read the book or listened to the audio book of the 12-week year. Really great tool. I do that regularly throughout the year. I'm currently on week 7 of my current one. And essentially what the plan around that is to condense the time and then fill in the work with that, right? And if you give yourself 2 hours to get a project done, you'll get it done in 2 hours. You give yourself 2 weeks to get a project done, you'll wait until the last day and you'll get it done in 2 hours anyways. Is the way that I explain that, right? So if you are efficient with your time, you will be able to get a lot more done. So I'll break down kind of the mindset part of this. I think that is really critical to starting your day off, right? I don't do my morning routine as far as the mindset stuff every day, right? I would say it's probably about 65 to 70% of the time, but I'll tell you the days that I do it consistently are the best days that I have in real estate. There has been, has anyone here ever read or listened to the audiobook Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents? If you haven't, that's one of the very first books I tell really any new real estate agent should listen to. It's told in a story format. It's a really great book, right? Talks about the savers routine, which stands for Silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is just another word for journaling in the morning. And if you do that, there's been 3 times in my career where I've done that consistently for 30 days. And within 90 days of me having done those 3 months, the first month I did it for 30 days straight, within 90 days, I had $100,000 month, right? The second time I did it, within 90 days, I had 100,000 month. Same thing with the third time I did it in a row, right? If you are consistent with it, it's much better for your lifestyle. Essentially, what happens is you wake up in the morning, you should have your phone on airplane mode. You actually don't want to be looking at your phone. There's no good news on your cell phone in the morning when you're really looking at those things. You know, people don't need you at 6 o'clock in the morning. They might need you at 7 o'clock. Leave your phone on airplane mode, put it off to the side, and then go into the living room. I have a floor desk with like a little yoga seat that I can sit on, and I'll usually light a candle there and I'll just sit there for 2 to 3 minutes and get my mindset right. I'm trying to really decompress. Most of the time my dogs are sitting next to me too, so that puts me in like a really good disposition. If you're looking for a really great meditation tool, I'm not someone who's good at just sitting around and not thinking at all. That's kind of a meditation technique that I thought was the main thing when I first got into meditation. I do a lot more contemplative meditation, which is I'm actually thinking about something as I'm sitting there. So really great program, and you can find this on YouTube as well, is the 6-phase meditation. It was created by Vishen Lakhiani. And in the 6-phase meditation, he's also the CEO and founder of Mind Valley, which is probably one of the best online mindfulness training platforms out there. I think it's like $500 a year. It's totally worth it. Jesse Zagorski, who runs this, he also is a big believer in Mind Valley as well. Anyone who has really been part of that is going to rave about it. It's a really great platform. But they practice a 6-phase meditation, which is about 15 minutes long. The first 2 minutes they spend really just thinking about something that you love or you enjoy. Oftentimes they'll think about my dogs, and you expand that outside of yourself, puts you into a good feeling and mood. The second part of that is actually spending some time in gratitude. I'll talk about that a little bit later when I talk about the daily sheet. But spending time just thinking about things that you're grateful for in your business, in your life, about yourself, really just sets it up so you're going to be looking for more things to be grateful for throughout the day, right? If you start that day being thankful for what you have, when you have additional blessings and discounts and things coming into you, it's going to make you more grateful for all the benefits and the things that we have in our lives. I can be grateful for getting a free cup of coffee at a hotel room, right? Even though I know I paid for that cup of coffee, right? Any small discount, going to the gas station, they give me a free slice of pizza, I feel good because I got something good, right? Any discount, you're looking at things in a positive mindset. The third part of 6-phase meditation was probably the most powerful one for me, which was actually practicing forgiveness, which is thinking about, that jerk who cut you off yesterday or made the wrong turn, or the agent who made some snide remark, or the client who is somehow ghosting you, anything that can happen, trying to think through it, what might be going on in their lives and forgiving them for what's going on, right? It's very rarely about you. It's very rarely about you. There's something else going on in somebody else's life, and we just can't control for those things. So spending a little bit of time forgiving what others are going through, and even taking that moment to find reasons to forgive yourself for something that maybe you made a commitment to your fitness, and you ate a few glazed donuts yesterday, and you're like, oh man, I totally let myself go on that one. But spending a little bit of time in forgiveness. From there, spending time and thinking about how you want your life to look 3 years from now, within a year from now, and then how you want that perfect day to go today. And exactly trying to figure out, just to visualizing what it is that you want for that day. And then the last part of that is offering some sort of a blessing to yourself, right? Just some sort of main mantra for the day, right? I really love the 6-phase meditation. You can find that on YouTube for free, right? That's a really great way to start your day, just kind of listening and follow into that. My main idea is to follow the Savers routine, which is to spend a little bit of time in meditation. I usually will, Krista Mashler, she has us do a daily sheet really, I just use a blank sheet of paper nowadays. I will write out 6 things I'm grateful for in the morning. I'll write down 6 things that I want to get done today. Those are my to-do list items. Sometimes it gets a little bit more than that. And it's not always about business. I'm just going to be jotting down things that I want to do. And then I have 5 different affirmations that I will write down for a good portion of the time. If you're someone who likes to have morning breakfast or morning afternoon. I know some people, they associate the foods with some sort of meditation. So there's like, as they eat that, they're kind of seeing it as something that they're bringing in amongst themselves. Visualization. I actually do vision boards about every 6 months. I will tell you, if you've never done a vision board, you totally should. The first time I did it was back in 2019, and I looked at it a year later, and I had completed roughly 80% of the things on that vision board. And really what it is just putting that front of mind on what it is you want to see. Can really help. And I'm a little different. I don't really focus exactly on the end result. When I do my vision boards, I more focus on the actions that I'm going to be doing on that day-to-day basis. So on my vision board is me sitting at a coffee shop or a bar top with my laptop open, a notebook out, and my phone out. There's vision boards of me on the phone, talking to clients, photos of my dogs in front of for sale signs, me at closing tables, the gyms that I like to go to, right? So when I see these things, I'm like, okay, I'm actually living that lifestyle. Now, of course, I'm going to put certain things out there. Like if I want to go to Egypt or India or something like that, I'll put that on there and I'll try to knock that out, right? So if you put those things on your vision board, what you're going to notice as you go throughout the day is you're much more aware. Your reticular activating system is much more aware of the things that it is that you want to do. And you're going to propel yourself in a way to make those things happen. When I was training agents years ago, I used to always say, you want to put yourself in the way for good things to happen, right? That's why when I'm at the gyms in the morning, sometimes part of my morning routine, the exercise part, I go to a fitness center for 45 minutes and I try to show up about 10, 15 minutes early. If you watched the video last week, I talked about my marketing plan with going to 3 different gyms. And I try to get the exercise in that way. When you get exercise done in the morning, the rest of the day is a lot easier. Also, it speeds up your metabolism if you're trying to drop weight a little bit, right? And you'll feel much better throughout the day. And the other problem, and one of the reasons why I really focus on this offense and defense strategy with my morning routine, is I know that real estate has a way to hijack us in our lives. And it ends up getting to a point where, it's 11 o'clock in the morning and a client sends you over 3 showings they want to look at, right? Or someone is like, hey, some new client comes in and they want to talk to you at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? I feel that if you get the main meat and potatoes of your day done before 11 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be in a much better situation. But I will tell you that first hour and a half that you get your mindset right, you focus on what it is that you want throughout the day, you focus on what it is that you want throughout the life, you are improving your education, you're doing readings, you're doing some sort of education in the morning. It's going to set it up so that the rest of the day is much smoother and easier for you. So that first hour, again, I don't do it every single time, but when I have, it's been really successful for me. I usually try to say I want to be at my desk doing work at 8 o'clock in the morning for the most part, right? From 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock, with exceptions. I do have one exception. My lenders and my title companies know that Alex Mayer likes to close his deals at 8 o'clock in the morning. Right? I want to get my closings done early in the morning so that I can move on throughout the rest of the day. But then I get back into my seat at 9 o'clock in the morning. And from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock, I'm doing one of 3 things. Number one is I'm following up with online leads you registered on my platform over the course of the last week. It's phone prospecting, talking to those people who registered on RochesterAreaHomefinder.com, right? Personally, I am still a big believer in these online platforms. People who are searching online, looking at houses, this isn't cold calling. These are people who have raised their hands to look at real estate. And when I have a conversation with them, it goes a lot better. I'm actually next week going to be talking about that initial phone call. Again, most of the time nowadays, most people are reaching out to me directly, but I still do from time to time have that happen. In fact, I've had 2 people set appointments with me this week who came directly from that platform. And if you've done a really good way of setting up your branding online, it works even better. But from 9 until 11, I'm either going to be on the phones, I'm going to be recording videos, right? 2 to 3 videos a week is usually what I'll be running ads that way. Or I'm going to be following up with designers and editors and trying to move some sort of marketing forward, right? I've lately started doing different postcards in my neighborhoods. I got 3 different neighborhoods that I'm actually dominating right now, and I send those out there. I have my designer and editor create these things. I'm not really an aesthetic guy. I don't know what it is I like until I see it. So I'm going to have these people create these little designs for me. I'm going to be getting them edits and everything like that, and then they get that off to me. Other than that, I'm going to be setting up anything that's going to be really geared towards momentum in my business. But there were days early in my business where from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I was making those phone calls. I'd make 100 to 150 phone calls in that amount of time. I probably have anywhere between 6 and 8 really good conversations. Might set an appointment or two doing it that way. But I knew that by the time 11 o'clock rolled around, I did more than most agents will get done inside of a week because I did the work. Now, is 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock the best time to making phone calls? Probably not. People are at work, right? And, when people do tell me that they're at work when I call, and I'm like, yeah, me too, right? It's kind of a funny thing. Like, I'm working currently as well, right? So getting through things like that, like just getting that work done in the morning is going to be a better situation for you. When I used to work at the office years ago, what I found was there were many agents that would actually show up in the office around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. The ones who did show up early enough, I used to actually have a door closed sign that said that I'm in new business development, because it used to be a situation where in the morning agents would knock on my door, come in, sit across from me, and they would ask me for advice and tips and tricks and on how to do things. They would be like, "Oh, I'm doing these flyers, or I'm creating this little design, or hey, I'm practicing my scripts." I'm like, "Okay, well, did you talk to anyone today? Did you send those flyers out? Did you actually take the time to sit down and write out the postcard that you were going to send out to those prospective clients? Did you put it in the mailbox?" Right? Like a lot of people spend time planning to plan. And what you need to do is you need to take action. That's the most important thing. That's what that 9 to 11 o'clock time period is. That's when you're actually moving the needle forward on your business. That's writing the thank you cards. That's writing the note cards. That's sending out the flyers. That's making the phone calls. That's designing your coasters, your box, whatever you're doing, CMAs, things like that. And I should actually put a point on that. CMAs, like things like that you are doing for your clients, I put that in the maintaining business category. Okay, that's not new business development. New business development is having conversations with clients and doing things that's actually going to increase your brand recognition, right? That's new business development. Those are the early morning things. The rest of the stuff, those maintaining business items, you do that during the rest of the day. I would say that new client appointments and listing appointments, I put that in the closing business category. I would still say that is still new development, but the morning routine from 9 to 11, that's where you're setting those appointments, right? I try to set appointments for afternoons and evenings to meet with people. Weekends, I'll do it in the morning sometimes too. Obviously, if someone's only time that is going to work for them is 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, I'll meet with them at 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, right? I'm here to sign clients and close deals, but ideally, you want to keep that rule in place. And when you make this routine a habit in your lifestyle, it makes it much easier because your lifestyle will actually fall to the lowest common denominator, which is your routines, right? If you wake up in the morning, you're going to get those things done, it's going to be a better situation for you overall. Another big thing is practicing Pomodoro technique. Sometimes I'll write down the 6 different things I got to get done in the morning. Maybe it's a really busy day and I need to get the postcards out. I need to follow up with 6 or 7 online leads that came in the last 48 hours. I'll make those phone calls really quickly. I always do try to start with the lowest hanging fruit first. I know there are some people, they try to say do the hardest things first. I like to start my days with a win. right? I do believe in eat that frog. Like if it's something like it's leg day, I'm gonna try to get my leg day done early in the morning, right? I want to get that done right away, right? But if I know that this person reached out to me and they want to set an appointment with me in their referral, I'm gonna have a phone conversation with that person first because that's gonna set me up for better success when I'm going to be calling the online leads later because I've already started the day with a win, right? But practicing Pomodoro techniques, but hey, I only got 25 minutes to get this thing done. You'll get it done in 25 minutes, right? I have 6 leads to follow up with. I'm going to call them and get that done in 25 minutes. I'm going to get that done right away, right? After 11 o'clock in the morning, that's my defensive period. That is the period where I'm going on the appointments, the showings, the inspections, getting the for sale signs in the yard, things like that, if that makes sense, right? I got about 10 minutes left here. Does anyone have any questions for me at this point?
There are some questions in the chat.
Oh gosh, let me look back. What was one of those 6-phase meditation? The 6-phase meditation, that's Visham Lakhiani. That's on YouTube. You can find that. He's the CEO and founder of Mind Valley. Mind Valley, really great program. Honestly, if you haven't looked into it, it's one of my very favorite. I've been a member of Mind Valley for 5 years now, and it is really powerful. There's some really powerful stuff. Gets your mindset right. Focus a lot of meditation, a lot of manifestation stuff in there. Which even if you don't believe in that stuff, I promise you, if you practice it for a little bit of time, you will see results. I was very much not a believer at first, and nowadays it's like if I focus on something, usually I get a result like honestly almost instantaneously. It's a very strange experience, but when you see it happen consistently, it makes you a believer. But the first phase of 6-phase meditation is more just settling into yourself. You're supposed to think of something that you really love. You fill yourself up with that energy. You fill it in your room, into your home, into your city, country, earth, universe, right? And you just spend some time in almost detaching yourself, but also filling with love. That's the first phase. I would really look into that system yourself. Suma, you said which one? Which 6-phase? I mean, any one of them.
I joined late, so I heard that sentence. So I
Yeah, any one of them by Vishnu.
I'm good. Yeah.
Wait. Yeah, I love Mind Valley, but I've always found that if I break my day into offense and defense and get the things done early in my day before 11 o'clock, if I have nothing else going on that day, I can do whatever I want, right? But I know that if I've gotten the majority of my busy work done and the things that are moving the business forward before 11 o'clock, I'm going to be in a much better situation overall. After that, my assistant, she will email me between 8 and 9 o'clock. A good portion of the time I will be doing some of the stuff like my assistant. I like to kick over dominoes is what I call it. So if I know that I need to have a few open houses scheduled for this weekend, or I need to schedule a sign getting put in, or photos or videos or inspections or communicating with title or lenders, all that stuff, I will have a short, like 5 to 10 minute conversation with my assistant. I do recommend having an assistant. It's probably the best money that I spend. I pay her per closing. So it's not like I pay her monthly or anything like that. Pay her per closing. I pay her more than I probably should. I offered her a raise. She's worth it, I guess. But I like to kick over dominoes so I know by the afternoon that those things have been handled. So if that's following up with a lender on a pre-approval, if that's following up with a listing agent on an offer overnight, just like, hey, any updates, anything like that, I'll get that done at 8 o'clock so that by the time 11 o'clock rolls around, I might hopefully have an answer to those things I did earlier, right? So I call it kicking over dominoes. You do one little tap here, and then someone else is going to do all the work later. And then later on, they'll come back to you with an update, right? And your clients, you'll come to find, they really appreciate it when you keep them updated. I'll talk about that not next week, the week after, about setting good client expectations and boundaries, right? So that they know what they're getting into. I tell people no update is an update, right? Even if I don't have an answer at that point, I'm going to tell you no update. I prefer that when I'm out at restaurants and bars. If the bartender or server is a little busy, just letting me know that I'm up next is going to make me feel a lot better about the situation, right? I don't need to necessarily be sure instantaneously. But I like to know that, hey, I'm being thought of and they're keeping me in mind. And clients appreciate that same thing too. So from like 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, there is a little bit of period in there where I will just follow up and check in with a few people. I might send out a few listings at that point. But from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, that time is definitely just what is it that I'm going to get done to move the business forward throughout the day. I do recommend, if you have ChatGPT, use that for a good portion of your marketing. I use ChatGPT for my 12-week plan too. I upload my 12-week plan to ChatGPT and I check in with it pretty much every day at this point. All the things I'm getting done throughout those days. I have ADHD, so a good portion of the time I'll get something done and I'll be really excited about it. And then, like, if you were to ask me at the end of the day what I got done that day, I'm like, I can't ever remember. I know I got a lot of things done in the morning. I know I was taking action. I was getting things done. But if I'm consistent in making sure that that system knows about it, it will remind me that I'm getting stuff done too. So, well, there's one thing I was going to talk about as far as morning routine goes. I totally lost my train of thought. Got any other questions for me while I'm trying to think back through that? Okay. Well, I'll tell you, if there's one thing that you can be doing today to move your business forward, it's going to be recording a video, right? Pull out your cell phone, think of some subject that's going on in your life, something that your clients are currently struggling with. Pull out the phone and just have a conversation with them about those things. Trim it up to about 90 seconds and then run that video as an ad on Facebook with money behind it, right? Just recording a video doesn't get you anywhere. That's like printing off a flyer or talking about the flyer and then never sending the darn thing, right? If you're just recording a video and posting up on your video, it's not going to get you anywhere. What qualifying questions do you use to get an agreement signed to list or represent buyers? That's more, so I'm actually covering that next week. That's going to be my initial call conversation. Next week, I'm going to be covering, usually it takes about 10 to 15 minutes with my initial calls with clients, right? I talk about straight line talk, LP Mama, which is like almost a script strategy. I don't really use scripts so much. I use a few different systems to determine what exactly it is my clients or my prospective clients are struggling with. Because a good portion of clients, they think they know everything that goes into real estate, and they really don't. Like, and they don't teach you how to buy or sell a house in school. Like, it's not a thing. So a lot of consumers have, misinformation, misassumptions. They're getting a lot of conflicting information online, and they don't really know what's important. They know that they have problems that they're struggling with. If it's a seller, I need to sell my house. I need to sell it fast. I want to be able to buy a house. It's too small. It's too big. It's too much payment. It's too little payment. I don't know. I've never really had anyone say that, but whatever. They have something that they're struggling with in their life. Buyers, a good portion of the time, they're focusing on, how do I make sure I'm finding all the properties that are available to me? How do I make this affordable? Because when you show them a $500,000 sales price, that's a really scary number. And people get sticker shock. Our job is to figure out what their problems are and explain what we know about that problems and what the solutions to those problems are, right? So they know their problem. They know they have a problem. They don't know everything about it, right? When I talk to first-time home buyers, as an example, they'll tell me I want to have a 2-stall garage. And I'm like, okay, well, does it matter if it's attached or detached? They might not have even considered that question, right? Like, well, I need to have a big yard. Okay, does it matter if it's fenced in or not fenced in? They might not have considered that question. So bringing a light to them, different things that they really hadn't considered, is also a huge part of that initial conversation. And then showing them that you have the information, the solutions, the know-how, the people to get through that. I'll actually be covering that next Thursday. I try to keep that within 10 to 15 minutes. And then that initial phone call leads to the appointment, right? And then the next week, I'll be talking about setting proper boundaries and expectations with clients in those initial meetings. One thing that's interesting about me is I probably work about 25 hours a week because I'm very efficient with my time in the morning, right? In 2023, I actually took 13 weeks where I was out of my market, meaning I was out on road trips, I was on vacations, I was things like that. And I still had clients waiting for me when I came back. And it all came down to setting those proper expectations with them up front that, hey, I got a life too. You work 9 to 5 job, you get to go home, you're done. I work all the time, every day. I don't work all the time. I work every day, but not all the time every day. Right. So even when I'm away, I'll still be available to you for phone calls and handling negotiations and things like that. So I'll be covering the initial phone call next week. The week after that, I'll be covering expectations and boundaries. So I think we're up for today. So unless there's any other questions right now, I think we're going to call it. Good to go?
Thank you, Alex. Very nice. Super.
Great day. Good to see you.
Bye. See you.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.